Hey, everybody, Ron Bainberg here with the latest podcast of The Ron Bainberg Show. Now, today's program, part podcast, part training, part tip of the week, part member message if you are part of my Ultimate Originator Success System. Putting all these pieces together, there's a few things that all come together from a coaching call that I had this morning. And it's with a gentleman who is ultra committed to being successful. He is like the world's greatest soldier in doing the things that need to be done. And he has been in business for a while, but he's really now just building up his company. And the combination of building up his company and going out and getting business and developing new relationships, especially in a market like today, presents a lot of challenges. But what he did is he sent me his numbers. He sent me his closings through the month of August. And the total closings is 42. So for some of you listening to this, you're saying, oh, 42, it's just over 5 a month, no big deal. For some of you, you're saying 42, just over 5 a month, and you're saying, wow, this is really good. I'd love to be able to do that. I'd be in a great shape considering where the market is. And this is all purchase business. And in going through his numbers, so regardless of where you are, but in going through his numbers, what I did is I looked at the volume, I looked at the average loan amounts. We did all that. But what I did is he had on his list how many leads or how many deals, not leads, deals he closed and where they all came from. So he knew which closings he had related to which realtors, how many realtors had sent him business through the first 8 months that he had closed. So it was all very easy to see. What's the point? Not that this is revolutionary, but what it is the numbers were really simple in that he averages 5 loans a month and growing as far as closings and growing his business. But when I looked at his list, 42 closings came from 20 different realtors. And that is the lesson. The lesson is, and those of you that have been listening to me for a while, you know, I keep telling you, you got to expand your network. If your current network is not providing you all the business that you are looking for, I understand the challenges of the market, but despite that, you are still way off where you need to be, not even want to be, but need to be in business. You have to look at a few things. One of the things you have to look at is, how many referral partners do you have? He has 20, and we agreed that he has 20, and it's still not enough because he wants to do a lot more than that. And he also has the future sight on that as soon as the market turns, if he's able to do this now and double it from 20 to 40 and double from his loans from 5 to 10, and it's not if, it's when. What happens the moment the market starts improving? The moment the market starts improving, a good portion of these realtors start doing better, and all of a sudden his business explodes in volume overnight. That's a good problem to have. Although I use the word explode, it's a good problem to have. So what are the lessons here? Well, what I started to say before is that if your network is not giving you enough business, it's a function of 3 potential things. 2 of them you have control over. 1 is the market. You don't control the market. 2, how many referral partners you have. And 3, how good you are at persuading them to help you help them. So what I was talking about is as we were going through this list, the original focus is, well, I want to get more referral partners. I said, hold on. Let's take a look at this list. Let's dig a little bit deeper and figure out how to really leverage this list. So I went through it, and there were some realtors that had only given him 1 transaction through 8 months, and some were 2, some were 3, and I think it went as high as 6. And so I asked him this question, and I said, do you think that there are any realtors that are struggling with that when a borrower comes in, they say they're already pre-approved, so your realtors back off? He goes, absolutely. So I said, why don't we teach them how to become better at referring you? So really, it's very simple scripting. And the scripting is that you want to teach your realtors because they're so afraid of losing a buyer. They don't want to put pressure. So you teach your realtors to have this conversation with their buyers. when the buyer comes in and says, yes, I'm already pre-approved, the realtor should say, that's fantastic. I'm glad that you're already ahead of the game and that you know what you qualify for. Then go through some of the regular conversation and then say, you are free to get financing from whomever you like. Okay? I'm not going to tell you where to get your mortgage financing. And by the way, quick timeout from the scripting here. I don't believe a realtor should tell a loan officer where a realtor should tell a borrower to get their financing. What a loan officer or a realtor should do, a realtor should be wanting to protect their transaction by referring a buyer to someone they know, like, and trust and know that they're going to get the deal done. But when a realtor feels the pressure to, and they're not good at it, and they're going to try and lead a borrower to you, and they're not comfortable with it, it's never going to come out right, so they're not going to do it. So we got to make it easy. So let me just jump back into the scripting. So when the realtor says to the borrower, Mr. Borrower, Mrs. Borrower, great that you're ahead of the game. You are free to get mortgage financing from whomever you like, and I encourage you to do that. However, there's a gentleman or mortgage professional, whatever you want to call him, that I work with. And I'm not telling you to use them, but many of my clients who speak with him really like him, and they love the fact that they always save them money. That's what this person does really well. I'm not telling you to do business with them, but I am encouraging you to at least have a conversation with this person, and obviously you're going to call him by name. By doing that, you are setting up the borrower's expectations that there's no pressure, and you're also relieving all the pressure off of the realtor. So in this scenario, then if the borrower is responding favorable to that, say, to make it easy for you, I'm just going to have Ron give you a call. Okay? Again, and you want the realtor to keep reminding them, there's no pressure for you to use who I'm referring to you. Entirely up to you. But in this market, especially with elevated interest rates and how tight the market is, saving money seems to be what a lot of my clients want to do. You've now, with that scripting, have set up the realtor to talk to a borrower, not applying pressure. Because if the borrower says, no, I'm just going to stick with my person, you say, totally get that. If something changes, let me know. But you'll be amazed at how many buyers will be willing to speak to the loan officer when there's that type of no pressure situation put on them by the realtor. So that was the first thing that came from it. The second thing that came from it is the concept which I call the matrix. And the matrix is talking to all of these realtors, these 20 realtors, and I just asked my client, I said, so have you asked all of these 20 realtors, who do they know that is a mortgage professional just like them that they could introduce you to or that they should reach out to on their own? Notice, what I didn't say is who is a realtor that you know that is in need of a good loan officer? I don't want to ask that question to a realtor because they're going to take their whole purview of referrals and they're going to screen them all and make it really small. I don't want that to happen. So I don't want the realtor to figure out who needs a good loan officer. I just want to be able to leverage that relationship so when I call that realtor that they referred me to, I say, hi, my name is Ron Vainberg with ABC Mortgage. I was speaking with such and such realtor, and they told me I absolutely needed to give you a call. And the reason why is because blank, and that's where you're going to insert your positioning, which everybody knows that listens to me. If you don't have that fill-in of the reason for my call, and you don't understand what your real value proposition is, then you can't make the call. The words, the reason for my call, make everything super, super easy for you to do. So you have a list of realtors, and if you don't have 20, then you know you need more, especially if you don't have enough business. And if you don't have 20 or you don't have a lot of realtors and you're saying, but my business is fine, I'm going to tell you, and those of you that know me, know I have no problem saying what I think. I'll tell you, you are out of your mind. And the reason why you're out of your mind, now some of you are probably shutting me off right now because you don't like what I'm about to say or what I just said. That's okay. The reason why I'm saying you're out of your mind, Because do you realize how vulnerable you are? You are vulnerable to possibly something doesn't go right and your realtor turns on you, but you say, no, they're very loyal to me. I say, okay. What if a loan officer comes in and makes them an irresistible offer? I'm not talking about handouts or money or anything like that. I'm just talking about that they ask a series of questions that you've either never asked or have forgotten to ask. Let me give you this example. The example is, imagine you have a great relationship with a realtor, and I reach out to that realtor and I say, hi, my name is Ron Bainberg from ABC Mortgage. The reason why I'm calling is such and such told me I absolutely needed to get a hold of you or reach out to you. The reason for my call is I'm helping agents like yourself do more business in these challenging times. And I was hoping that I could just share some of the ideas that I work with other agents with you to see if they'd be beneficial. Now that realtor, your realtor, you're the one that has this relationship, is going to say, I appreciate you calling, but I already have an existing relationship. And I'm ready for it because I'm going to say, I appreciate you being honest with me. I expected that you did. But the reason I'm reaching out to you is not to interfere with the existing relationship you have. Is just to see if I could add more to your business without putting any pressure on you having to decide which loan officer you're going to work with, because I'm just going to be focused on one area with you. What do you say we get together? I promise you, I'm not going to waste your time. Let me share with you some of the ideas. If you like them, then we have more to talk about. If not, I'll leave as soon as you tell me we're done. Is that fair? See, ladies and gentlemen, I'm prepared for the objection because I know it's coming. I'm prepared for the blow-off because I know it's coming. You have to do the same thing. If you don't do the same thing, if you're not prepared, that automatically creates a barrier for you even being willing to make the phone call. Now, let's say I get that meeting with the realtor because a moment ago I said, well, you might be vulnerable, right? Your relationship could be vulnerable. And you're thinking, nope, you're made of steel and that relationship is not going anywhere. Once I get the meeting with the realtor, your vulnerability goes through the roof. Because now I'm sitting down with the realtor and I'm saying, Mr. Realtor, Mrs. Realtor, thank you for meeting. I'm glad we could both make time to get together. Before I get into the ideas that I want to share, I want you to understand I completely respect that you have an existing relationship. You made that clear, and I totally respect it. But I was hoping that I could ask you a question, because I want to make sure that if we do work together, I do things the right way. Would that be okay? And the realtor is going to say, sure. And I'll say, you have this existing relationship. What are the things that they do that keeps you so loyal to them? Because I want to make sure I do those things on the things that we might do together. Again, I want you to understand I am not creating any kind of threat to their relationship because I am not going to attack it, at least not directly. So they start telling me what it is that they want me to do, what they like so much about you, my competitor. They're telling me. I'll say, great, those are all great things. Those are all important things. I can see how you'd want that, which is those are the same type of things that I'm going to do, or the same type of things that I do. What I'm going to do is that every time they talk about something they like about their realtor, their loan officer, I'm going to include myself into the conversation. I'm going to say, yeah, I can see how that could be beneficial. It's one of the things that I do as well. And I'm going to keep inserting. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a parallel course where I'm just validating their thought process and inserting myself into their thought process. So I hope this is making sense. And this is really as easy to do as I'm making it sound. With a little bit of practice, this thing works almost every single time. Now, then I'd say to the realtor, I say, I know you've got this great relationship. Let me ask you this. And I say this in a respectful way because I'm always looking to do whatever I can do better. If there's one thing that you wish your current loan officer could do or do better, I don't want to know their name. I just want to know, what would that one thing be? Ladies and gentlemen, there's always one thing. There's always one thing, because if there wasn't one thing, the realtor never would have met with me. It doesn't matter that I said I wasn't going to interfere with their relationship. They would have gone to the end of the earth to protect their existing relationship if there wasn't one thing buried somewhere in the back of their head. So they say, and whatever that one thing is, You don't say, oh my God, I can't believe. No, you don't say that. You don't blast them. You say, interesting. Okay, is there anything else? And before you know it, you have one or two, three things. And then I'd say, please, I'm being respectful of your relationship because obviously they do a lot of the right things. So what I actually do is I don't even let the realtor go down a path of really questioning, at least consciously, the relationship they have. But what they're doing is they're giving me their rules of engagement. They're literally unwrapping their rules of engagement for me, telling me what they want and what they wish their existing loan officer would do better. The moment I start inserting those solutions into our conversation, I start the process of displacing my competitor. This is all psychology, because once somebody admits that they have a pain point, be it a big one or a small one, and you address it in a non-threatening and professional way, they're going to see you as a resource. So I hope this is making sense. Now, I can't go through the entire piece of every part of the presentation, but I want you to understand a couple of things from this podcast today. One, look at where your business is coming from and ask yourself, do I have enough referral partners for the business that I want to do? Do your numbers. Look at how many people you're doing business with. Look at how many deals you're closing. And the math is really going to tell you what the truth is. Then you can look at, is there a way that you might be able to help them give you more referrals by getting them better under control of their leads? And that is by bringing you into more conversations. And then lastly, who can they refer you to? These are three pieces that all happen in one coaching call today, just from somebody giving me their list. So I want you to understand that you must know who you're working with, know what's happening in those relationships. And in this market, you've got to be really ultra focused on how you're going to leverage every relationship you have to the max. Thanks for joining me on this podcast. If you are ever interested in finding out more about how I can help you one-on-one with coaching or become an Ultimate Originator member where you get access to all my resources, all you got to do is reach out to us. But in the meantime, take action. Listen to this podcast over and over, because if you listen to it passively, start it over again and start taking notes and dig deep into it, because you're going to find that this strategy with a little bit of practice is going to get you more business, more relationships, and it's really not hard. Have a great day, everybody.